Good morning everyone. In today's OB's class, we will discuss about a new topic called types of personality. The objective of this particular topic is to understand the types of personality attributes that have been found to be powerful predictors of behavior in organizations. So today we are going to discuss 3-4 important types of personalities. First one is locus of control. The second one is Machiavellianism. Third is narcissism. Fourth is self-monitoring. First we'll start with locus of control. Some people believe that they are the masters of their own fate. Other people see themselves as pawns. That means these are the people used by others. So the people who are perceived as pawns, they believe in fate, destiny. So whatever happens to them in their lives, it is because of luck or chance. So locus of control, some people believe that they are the masters of their own fate. Other people see themselves as the pawns of the fate. That means whatever happens in the life, it is because of fate and destiny. Now the first type who believe that they control their destinies, they are labeled as internals. Whereas the second, the later ones, who see themselves as being controlled by external factors or outside forces, they have been labeled as externals. Now, a person's perception of the source of his or her fate is known as locus of control. Right? Now we'll discuss some examples. Now we'll go on with some examples so that you have a better understanding. First we'll discuss about an example for internal locus of control. That means if they are performing poor in their test, so these internals will accept their own fault and they will have a mindset, I should have spent more time in preparation, I should have spent more time in studying for the exam. The same internals who have this particular feeling called masters of their own fate, if they are performing good in the test, so they will have a mindset that I studied really well, because of that studying it paid off and I am the reason for the success. So these people are called as internal locus of control. Now we'll discuss the same locus of controls with external example. For example, they are performing poor, externals are performing poor on the test. So they will blame the question paper. They will say the question paper is so tough, the questions are too hard to crack, like that. If they perform really well, good also in the test, they will not take the credibility, they will not take, they are the reason for the success, but they will say whether I am lucky or the question paper is very easy or the teachers have graded the paper in a more lenient way. So this is a very good example where as a student you can connect whether you are an internal or an external. Now a large amount of research done by various researchers cutting across geographical locations, they have started to compare internals and externals, and in those research has consistently shown that individuals who rate high on external, they are less satisfied with their jobs. That is, they are highly dissatisfied and they have higher absenteeism rates, they are more alienated from the work setting and they are less involved on their jobs than the internals. So, initial part of your career, if you are an external, means it's not a big deal, but when you are moving ahead in your career ladder, you should move from that particular external category towards internal category. Now internals, if you take again, they are less likely to get a job also. But if you, in the same scenario, if you in contrast with the externals, the internals exhibit more, motivation, proactive in nature, willingness to take action in the initial interviews. Now, why these externals are more dissatisfied? Let's have a discussion. Because they perceive themselves as having little, control over organizational outcomes. But if you compare the internals who are facing the same situation, they attribute organizational outcomes are because of their own actions, right? So if the situation is unattractive, internals believe that they have no one else to blame but themselves. Whatever success or failure, they take the responsibility. These internals do not pass the buck, and they will not blame it on others. And these dissatisfied internals is more likely to quit a dissatisfied job. They will not linger around that particular dissatisfied job. If they are not liking that job, or if they are not liking that organization, immediately quit. They will not linger around, they will not hopping around, and they will not try to manage the situation. So this is a difference between these internals and externals. So this overall evidence indicates that internals generally perform better than the externals in the jobs, and they search for more information and data before making decisions. They are highly motivated to achieve, and they make a greater attempt to control their environment. But in contrast, if you see these externals, they are very compliant, they are highly obedient, and they are willing to follow the directions of their superiors. They follow the orders. Okay. So this is a comparison between this locus of control, internals versus external personality type. The internals also do very well in their jobs. It can be a very complex job also, and they perform really well in managerial positions and top management positions. So this is a first personality type today which we discussed, is called as locus of control. Now we will move on to the second type of personality known as Machiavellianism. This particular personality characteristics, Machiavellianism, is named after Niccolo Machiavelli, who wrote the book in the 16th century, how to gain power, how to gain and use power, right? Now we will discuss this Machiavellianistic personality trait with a small example or a small situation. So we will take one particular young banker by name QZ, who is in Taiwan. He had 3 promotions in the past 4 years and makes no apologies for this aggressive tactics. And because of this aggressive tactics, he used to propel his career upward. So QZ, he is having a mindset, I am prepared to do whatever I have to do to get ahead in life. Okay. QZ will be properly labeled as a Machiavellian, right? So he is prepared to do whatever to get ahead in his life or in his career. So he is a proper Machiavellianist. Now a person who is scoring high in Machiavellianism is pragmatic, practical. He maintains a very high emotional distance, and he believes that ends can justify the means. Now for a Machiavellianist, for a particular outcome, it doesn't matter how it is achieved, as long as you get the desired result. So these Machiavellianists use a proposition or a kind of statement like, if it works, use it. And it is very consistent. This type of proposition is highly consistent with a high Mach perspective. Now these Machiavellianists, this personality trait wherein people manipulate the situation or even they will manipulate others for their personal gains. And they have high self-confidence and self-esteem. These Machiavellianists are so calculative, they can exploit the situation. And these people always try to achieve their goals. They are worried about the end result. They are not worried about the process. Right? This is a pure Machiavellianist who score very high on this personality trait. That means they will also follow some unethical means to meet their goals. They are very intelligent people. So in Mahabharata there is one character known as Saguni. So you can correlate that particular character Saguni with Machiavellianism. These people are very highly intelligent and they will approach a situation with high degree of intelligence, and they are highly skillful in influencing others for their selfish advantage. Now, it has been found that this high Machiavellianist, they flourish in a very superlative way when they interact face to face with others rather than indirectly. And they are also highly successful when the situation is demanding minimum number of rules and regulations. So should we conclude that high marks make a good employees? Well, the answer depends on what type of job it is. When you consider ethical implications in evaluating performance, marks will fail. But Max will be very successful in the job where it requires negotiation skill, the bargaining skill, such as sales, pitch sales calls, as well as in labor negotiations, right? And these people also always looking for substantial rewards for winning. A high max will be productive in sales and marketing kind of jobs, right? So this is the second type of personality which we discussed. Earlier we discussed about locus of control, where we discussed about internals versus externals. So second type we discussed about Machiavellianism. Now the third type we'll discuss about, the personality type we'll discuss about narcissism, right? So in psychology, if you take, narcissism describes a person who has a grandiose of self-importance. He has a high degree of sense of self-importance. He is a person who requires excessive admiration and has a sense of entitlement and is also very arrogant, right? Now, evidence suggests that narcissists are more charismatic. They are likely to emerge as leaders and they may even